Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're managing a project, you already know that keeping your team's performance high, well, it's not just about crossing items off a task list, right? It requires real strategy, intense discipline, and a solid framework for constant growth. So today, we're going to take that dry project management and certification theory, and we're going to transform it into an actionable, elite playbook for absolutely elevating your team's output. All right, let's dive right in. I want you to seriously ask yourself right now, what are the actual improvement procedures in your organization? Think about it. Are you simply reacting to problems as they happen, just kind of putting out fires day by day? Or do you have a deliberate structural engine for getting better every single week? Because let me tell you, if you don't have a reliable system in place, you are absolutely leaving performance on the table. Here's our roadmap for today. We're looking at a 2-pillars framework. Pillar 1 is all about the mindset. We've got 1, the improvement mindset, 2, conducting effective retrospectives, and 3, upgrading your improvement methods. Then, Pillar 2 covers the structural reality, 4, supporting team performance, and 5, the project manager's role. Let's get to it. Section 1, the improvement mindset. So, continuous improvement, or CI, isn't just some corporate buzzword. It's literally an ongoing effort to improve products, services, or processes. And this happens through small, incremental improvements or, hey, sometimes massive breakthroughs. But the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that it's a business strategy developed at the organizational level. It's a structural approach. Usually, you'll see it implemented by a PMO using a structured learning framework like Agile or Six Sigma. It is the literal engine of your team's growth. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the literal translation of this foundational concept. If we break down the characters for Kaizen, Kai means change, and Zen means good, change for the good. When we talk about continuous improvement frameworks, we're essentially talking about embodying that spirit of Kaizen. It's about constantly, deliberately seeking out that change for the good in literally everything your team does. But hold on, before you go initiating these massive overhauls, you've got to ask yourself, how well equipped is your team for continuous improvement? You really have to assess your current readiness. You can't just mandate Kaizen on a Tuesday and expect miracles on a Wednesday if your team's foundation just isn't built for it. So how do we actually assess that readiness? Well, first off, check to see if your lessons learned register is up to date. You'll want to look at whether your team has Lean Six Sigma or Agile certifications, and you review your project management and process improvement plans. But look at that first point. This is absolutely vital. Use the risk register. Sounds kind of surprising, right? But your risk register tracks how your team is prepared to act to address threats to project quality. And simply put, if you aren't prepared to mitigate threats, you just aren't ready to implement systemic improvements. Section 2, conducting effective retrospectives. Okay. On a typical retrospective board, the format is simple but incredibly powerful. On the left side, we have went well. Maybe the workspace was kept tidy or tasks were completed on time. And over on the right, we have need to improve. You ask your attendees to populate these lists and identify the core reasons for their entries. But here's the secret sauce. You don't just leave those complaints hanging on the right side of the board. You must narrow that list down to specific improvement areas that are going to bring actual, tangible value in your very next sprint. You get consensus, you update those tasks on your backlog after chatting with your product owner, and you implement them. That is how a retrospective drives real, actionable change. Section 3, upgrading your improvement methods. To do this successfully, you've got to lead with an active improvement mindset, and that means encouraging a fail-fast mentality. You run A/B testing experiments, you gather team feedback, you apply controls, but you do them one at a time to isolate exactly what's working. You measure the effect, and then you repeat. It's a rapid, iterative, and highly effective cycle. And when you finally find an experiment that truly works, you escalate those successful project lessons right up to the organizational level for broader adoption. Now, when you find yourself totally overwhelmed with data from all those rapid-fire improvement experiments, you rely on tools like the Pareto chart, which you might know as the 80-20 rule. It takes a massive, overwhelming problem and breaks it right down into smaller, actionable pieces. So the crucial point is this. The Pareto chart directs your efforts exactly where they can make the biggest possible impact. It ensures you're focusing your energy where it yields the absolute maximum return. Section 4, supporting team performance. So now we're moving into our second pillar. As a project manager, supporting performance means acting as both a shield and a guide for your team. You have core leadership objectives to uphold here.
You must communicate and honestly, actively re-communicate the project's objectives. You ensure fluid knowledge sharing. You maintain a really healthy team dynamic by welcoming new members and quickly realigning the group when they start to drift. Ultimately, your job is to keep the entire team laser-focused on delivering value.
Structurally, this means mapping out authority, problems, and tolerances across your project team, your responsible parties, and your stakeholders. Notice how this hierarchy applies across the board to your budget, schedule, quality, and non-functional requirements. You manage your team using clear objectives, tolerances, and thresholds. If a variation occurs within a set tolerance level, the team knows exactly who has the authority to handle it without needing to unnecessarily escalate it up the chain. And trust me, clear thresholds equal a highly productive, self-driven team.
Section 5. The project manager's role.
In a centralized model, the required operational duties of the project manager are, frankly, intense. You ensure the alignment of deliverables, project life cycles, and the benefits realization plan. You provide the comprehensive PM plan. You manage all project performance and incoming changes. You make the integrated decisions. You measure and monitor progress, you take appropriate action, and you formally close each phase and the overall project. It is a relentless, high-stakes operational load. And here is the absolute boundary of your role. These tasks cannot be delegated. You can empower your team, you can run rapid A/B tests, you can encourage a culture of Kaizen all day long, but at the end of the day, in a centralized model, the ultimate accountability for these specific managerial tasks rests entirely and firmly on your shoulders. Which brings us to our final thought for today. Are you proactively managing your team's performance framework, or are you just reacting to their output? Listen, high performance is never an accident. It's the deliberate result of a continuous improvement mindset paired with strict, structural project management discipline. I challenge you to take this playbook, define your team's tolerances, set up your targeted retrospectives, and start elevating your output tomorrow. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep building.